Baruch haba, we'd like to thank our sponsor. Should be in Nischut, should be Matzliach, both Beruchaniyut and Gashmiyut. So, we're still with Avraham Avinu, and today I'd like to discuss the power of Chesed. The power of Chesed means the power of giving, and I want to delve a little bit into what it means to do Chesed, and I want to look at a Midrash, and we're going to explain the Midrash a little bit. And we know, just to start, the Pasuk says, Vayera elav Hashem be'elonei mamre v'hu yoshev petach ha'oel kechom ayom. We know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals himself to Avraham Avinu in this week's parasha, after Avraham Avinu does the Brit Milah, and the Orach Chaim says that the Avot, he explains why it says Vayera elav Hashem and not Vayera Hashem elav, why we say Hashem revealed himself, the way that the Pasuk is worded, and he explains that the Avot are Merkava l'Shechina. The Avot became vehicles for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What does it mean to be a vehicle for HaKadosh Baruch Hu? It means that a person becomes the steering wheel. His whole will, his whole being becomes an expression of the will of Hashem. That's what Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were zochetu. They became a full expression of the godly will in the world. Now, we'll see one thing that's very interesting, that Avraham Avinu, as we mentioned, was the foundation of all this. And we'll see, let's look into this Midrash, and from this Midrash we'll understand something fabulous. We'll really get a new insight about the giving of the Torah, the exchange that Moshe Rabbeinu had with an angel when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to get the Torah. And we'll see a very interesting Midrash. I'm going to read you the Midrash from beginning to end, and then we'll start to dissect the Midrash and start to understand the idea. It says, Moshe alai Elokim. And when Moshe Rabbeinu in Har Sinai wanted to bring down the Torah to the Jewish people, he went up to Hashem. Hu adin, this is the word, these are the words. Alita lamarom, shavita shevi. You went up to the sky and you brought down bounty, which is, what's the bounty? It's the Torah. Ma'u alita, what is the word that you were raised? Nitaleta nigashashta im melachim shel mala. You came because we know that when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Shamayim, the angel said to Moshe, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ma yilod isha benenu. What's this moral doing amongst us? Why is he here? Because Moshe Rabbeinu was lifted to the heavens, and you see now a mortal person in front of angels. So the angels say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what's Moshe Rabbeinu doing here? B'ota sha'ah bikshu malachei hasharet. At that moment, the angels livgo b'Moshe. They wanted to hurt Moshe Rabbeinu. Because what's he doing here? It's not his place. Imagine you have a place and it's like somebody's entering the place, somebody's coming in, and he's not allowed. So the alarm sounds off, so the Malachim come and they try to hurt Moshe Rabbeinu. What happens? Asabo, listen to this, what the Midrash says. Everybody's with me? So Moshe Rabbeinu's up arguing with the angels. What does it say? How did Hashem save Moshe Rabbeinu? The angels are coming to attack Moshe. What does the Kadosh Baruch Hu do? Asabo HaKadosh Baruch Hu clusterin shel panim shel Moshe. He switched surgery on the spot. Moshe Rabbeinu gets surgery from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He gets a facelift. What's the facelift? Hashem turns him into who? Avraham. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Asabo HaKadosh Baruch Hu clusterin shel panim shel Moshe domeh le'Avraham. All of a sudden, Moshe disappeared in the eyes of the angel, and who appeared? Avraham. Amar le. Now, what does the Kadosh Baruch Hu see? Who do the angels see? They see Avraham Avinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is coming up to Har Sinai, wants to bring the Torah down to the Jewish people. The angels are, what's this mortal doing amongst us? What does the Kadosh Baruch Hu do? What does the Kadosh Baruch Hu do? Face surgery to Moshe Rabbeinu, turns his face to Avraham Avinu. Says the Kadosh Baruch Hu, look, it's Avraham. Aren't you embarrassed, angels? You want to hit this person? What kind of gratitude is this? What do you mean, what kind of gratitude is this? What happened with Avram and the angels? Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I atem mitbayshim mimenu? Aren't you embarrassed of this person? Of who? Of Avram Avinu. Lo ze she'aratem etzlo v'achaltem betoch beto? He opened for you a whole table. The Pasuk says that Avraham Avinu saw the angels, right? Vaisainav, the Pasuk, the Torah says, he lifted his eyes when HaKadosh Baruch Hu was revealing himself. Vayar v'ineh shlosha anashim nitzavim elav. He saw three people. Vayar vayaratz likratam. Avraham Avinu sick on the third day of his Brit Milah. He's running towards the angels. The angels come into his house and he feeds them. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu leMoshe lo nitna lecha Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu, I want you to understand something. The only reason I gave you the Torah is what? Ela b'zchut Avraham. In the merit of Avraham, Moshe Rabbeinu. Hashem's telling Moshe Rabbeinu's in the heavens, and Hashem is telling Moshe Rabbeinu, I want you to understand that the reason you're able now, that the angels don't hurt you, and you're able to come up to heavens, and come down with a bounty, this bounty, which is the whole foundation of the Jewish people, is the Torah. This is what separates us from everything. Who's it in the merit of? Avraham Avinu. לא ניתנה לך תורה לבזכות אברהם שנאמר לקחת מתנות באדם. You took presents of man. What does that mean? Says the Midrash, ואין אדם האמור כאן אלא אברהם. And the word Adam here refers to who? To Avraham. שנאמר האדם הגדול בענקים. The great man who's great amongst giants. So all of a sudden, this whole Midrash doesn't make sense. Moshe Rabbeinu's in Shamayim. Hashem switching Moshe Rabbeinu's face to Avram Avinu. He's saying the only merit that you get to bring down the Torah is because Avram Avinu. And Avram Avinu is called the giant amongst men. What's going on over here? Who is Avram? Why is the whole merit because of him? What's this Midrash doing over here? What is the Kadosh Baruch Hu bringing the angels? What kind of answer is he telling the angels? Don't hurt him because this is Avram who you ate at his house. So what? Because you ate at his house, he can come to your house? What's going on here? You guys are with me? So we know we have a few questions. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu change the face of Moshe Rabbeinu to Avram? Why out of all the Avot? Why is Avram Avinu? And then he tells the angels, you should be embarrassed. This is the man you want to hurt, you ate at his house. And the whole idea here is that in this way that now the angels see Avram Avinu, they no longer have this argument of what are you letting a Yelod Isha, what is a mortal? Because why did they want to hurt Moshe Rabbeinu? Because Moshe Rabbeinu is a mortal. And he's not in his place. Because you're in the place of an angel. What does it mean to be a man? You live in material. You have your own wills and desires. Angels are called Omdim. Why are they Omdim? Because angels are not people. How do they move? They move only with the will of Hashem. They don't have freedom of choice. They move with the will of Hashem. The angels were saying, Hashem, we don't know what this is a physical human being. The Torah is a spiritual thing. Why are you giving something spiritual to something physical? Oh, good. Angels, I like what you're saying, says Hashem. Let me show you something. Avram Avinu. What kind of answer is that? So we know that really the world has to be in existence for 6,000 years. And we know that the first 2,000 years are called Tov. The middle 2,000 years are really called Torah. The last 2,000 years are called Yemei Mashiach. And the beginning of the 2,000 years start by Avraham Avinu. The Gilui of the Torah, the Torah was really already written at the time of Avram Avinu. The Gemara in Sanhedrin says that a commentary on the Gemara says that really in the time of Avram Avinu the Torah was already written, and that's how Avram Avinu was Mekayem the whole Torah. He already was Mekayem the whole Torah. And what was the power of Avram Avinu? Because we know that really until Avram Avinu, there's no such thing as a Jewish nation. The idea of a Jewish nation started really from Avram Avinu, and it was culminated at the time of the giving of the Torah. What did Avram Avinu do that from him started the Jewish nation? How did he take away? Really, the Torah was supposed to be given to everybody. But Avram Avinu pulled the Torah away from everybody and brought it only to the Jewish people. That's the power of Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu took the Torah away from Bnei Noach. And that's what really HaKadosh Baruch Hu was showing the angels. This is, what are you talking about? You don't want to give the Torah to Avram Avinu? He's the Baal Torah. He's the owner of the Torah. He made the Torah for the Jewish people. But how did Avram Avinu do that? Avram Avinu took himself and he separated himself from everybody else in the world. He separated himself from everybody else in the world. Bnei Noach now became one people. Because really the world came from Adam Rishon. And Adam Rishon was everybody. Until you had other people and other people, till comes Avraham. Right? Because you have Dora Aflaga, you have Dora Mabul, you have all these people together. Comes Avram Avinu, and from Avram Avinu starts a whole new reality. Avraham Avinu was a new creation. He was a new reality that now starts a Jewish nation. Why?
I have a question.
Just give me 1 second. Why? How did Avram Avinu do this? Because Avram Avinu refined his physicality and he made it spirituality. And you know that some people say that what was the chidush of Avraham Avinu? You think that the chidush of Avraham Avinu was he's the first person to go in the world and promote monotheism? That's what Avraham Avinu did? You don't think anybody else knew about God? How can that be? They heard about the Mabul. They heard about the Tower of Babel. These people in the Tower of Babel, why were they building a tower? They were building a tower to do what? They're like, oh, we're going to build a tower so high so we can fight against Hashem. So obviously people knew about God. We know also the Dor Enosh, the people that started Avodah Zarah, that they started idol worship, they never really started idol worship in a sense of this is God. No! They worshipped the sun because they believed the sun was a servant of God. And if I find favor in the servant, I'll find favor in God. So really what other commentaries have to say that Avram Avinu didn't go around and promote God. He went around and showed, how do I make the world a spiritual vehicle? How do I make myself a spiritual vehicle? How do I live in a world that's material and still connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Because we learned in our other shirim that a goy can't understand that. How do I live in a material world and still have connection to the spiritual? That's what Avram Avinu was mechadesh. Not monotheism. People knew about God. That's why when a person came to Avram Avinu, what did he do? He put them under the tree and he gave them to eat. Why did he give them to eat? He made them bench after. He made them say Birkat HaMazon. He showed them, look, when you're eating, it's also a worship of God. Make a bracha before, make a bracha after. Turn the experience into something spiritual. Elevate the world. So really what Avram Avinu was trying to show the world is that how are we going to elevate the material into spiritual? And what's the best possible way to show such a thing? The material is not you. The material is just a vehicle that you've been brought down into this world. You are your neshama. And the way to elevate yourself is to become in control of the material. So what's the greatest way to show control of the material? What was Avram known for? If you take one attribute that everybody knows about Avram Avinu, what is it? Chesed. Chesed LaAvram. Avram Avinu was the owner of Chesed. His tent was open from four parts, from every part, from four corners. Every darom, the sun, every part, east, west, north, south. Avram Avinu was a person, not only was he a person of Chesed, he chased Chesed. So what's the idea? How is Chesed elevate the material? It says, by the way, Eov also did Chesed. By the way, if you look, it says, Vayera elav Hashem Be'eloneh mamreh, the first verse of this week's parasha, if you take the Rashet Tevot means, if you take the beginnings of the letters, it spells out Iyov. What's the connection, just on a deeper note, what's the connection between Iyov and Avraham? Both were big Baalei Chesed. Both Iyov and Avraham did tremendous Chesed. What was the difference by Avram and Iyov? The difference was as follows. When somebody came to Iyov's house, Iyov would make sure that whatever he was lacking, he would be given. So if this person was accustomed to eating cereal, Iyov would give him cereal. He'd give him potatoes. He'd make sure that he got what he was at the level of he got. Avram Avinu was different. Avram Avinu, even to a person that wasn't accustomed to meat and wine, would give him meat and wine. Avram Avinu did chesed from a different perspective. Not only did he make sure you got what you lacked, Avram Avinu elevated your status. Imagine like a poor person coming to you and say, hey, can I have $1? Say, okay, you have two approaches. Either you flick him $1, or you say, if he's asking me for $1, he must need a lot more. Let me take you, my friend. Let's go eat. Let's go eat together. Let's go for a meal. It's a different approach to chesed. One is, I'll flick you the $1. One is, let me understand what you're asking for. Not only am I going to give you $1, I'm going to give you much more. It says, what's the power of chesed? They asked once, why was the Baal Shem Tov, how did the father of the Baal Shem Tov merit such a son as the Baal Shem Tov? The Baal Shem Tov was a person that was a huge Talmid Chacham, a person that helped the Jewish people from all aspects, started a whole new, really a way of showing simple people that you could serve, very, very similar to Avraham Avinu. Showed anybody, listen, I'm going to teach anybody in the world how to serve God. The Baal Shem Tov did that. I'm going to show everybody. It says, how was his father, because to have such a son, can you imagine to have such a son that illuminates the world? What do you have to do as a father to get such a son? I want a son like that. You don't want a son like that? Everybody wants a son like that. You want a son that illuminates the world. It says that Rabbi Eliezer, who was the father of the Baal Shem Tov, did something that was very similar to who? Avraham Avinu. What was it? Rabbi Eliezer, the father of the Baal Shem Tov, would put guards in the entrance of the city that he lived in. And he told those guards, whenever you see somebody coming to collect money, or somebody that's a visitor to the city, bring him to my home. He would make sure that nobody else was able to take visitors, says bring him straight to my house. Not only that, if he knew that this person was coming to collect money, what would he do? He'd say, sir, what are you here for? Oh, no problem. Let me give you what you're here for. Now sit down and eat. Why? He went to such an extreme level of chesed, of giving, because he didn't want this person that while he was eating would worry about the reason that he came to the city for. So in Shamayim they said, you know what? Let's check out this Rabbi Eliezer. Let's find out how far his chesed really goes, if he's really a person of chesed. The Satan comes and says to Hashem, let's test him. So Eliyahu Navi gets in the mix. And Eliyahu Navi says to the Satan, listen, I'm going to go down. And Eliyahu Navi comes down and he encloses himself as a visitor. And he comes on Shabbat. And he shows that he's a person that's kind of Mechalel Shabbat. And Rabbi Eliezer sees this Eliyahu person that he doesn't know who is Eliyahu Navi. And even though he was Mechalel Shabbat, he didn't embarrass him. He was worried about the chesed of the person. He brought him into his house. He gave him Sudash Lishit, the third meal of the Shabbat. He gave it to him, and he sat down, and he never embarrassed the individual. Afterwards, it says that Eliyahu Navi reveals himself to Rabbi Eliezer and says, I want you to know that Mishamayim, they tested you, from the heavens, they tested you. They wanted to see how far your chesed goes. If you only do chesed because it's something you want, or you do really because you want the good of the other person, and because of that, you're going to merit to have a son that's going to illuminate the world. The Ben Ish Chai, the same thing. The Ben Ish Chai's father was known to do extreme chesed. It's known that every day at the Shacharit services, we take 3 coins at the time that we say Vayvarech David and we put it in the tzedakah. It said on Shabbat that the Ben Ish Chai's father didn't have that ability because on Shabbat you can't take money. So what would he do? If there were poor people around, he would give them food on Shabbat at that moment in order not to give up the ability to do chesed with somebody else. So when such a person is constantly looking for chesed, and many other stories what the Ben Ish Chai's father did for other people that needed help. He was Dochet Son like the Ben Ish Chai, that what? Illuminated the world. That till today, there's books that we don't even know yet that are still coming out from the Ben Ish Chai. A Torah luminary of the whole Jewish world. So what's this power of chesed? What's this great idea of chesed that so many people, that the world is starting, that our Kadosh Baruch Hu changes the face of Moshe Rabbeinu to Avraham Avinu? What is this giving? What is this idea of giving? What does it mean to give? Chesed la Avraham. Avraham Avinu separates himself from Bnei Noah. In Shemaim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, the power of chesed is so powerful that he tells Moshe Rabbeinu, I want you to know that the only reason you're able to come up here and to bring the Torah down is because of Avraham Avinu. Says to the angels, we're going back to the angels. Hashem says to the angels, aren't you embarrassed of this man you ate at his house? Comes the Elkut Shimoni and says, oh, we know that the other commentator says that the angels really didn't eat. Really, it was that when a person goes to a certain place, he has the minhag of the makom becomes his minhag. What does it mean that the minhag of the makom becomes his minhag? Whatever they do in that place, he says, I'm not going to go contrary to what they do in this place, I'll do it also. So it says maybe the angels didn't really eat. They just showed Avraham like they were eating in order not to insult him. Comes the Elkut Shimoni and says, I want you to know, if a person says that the angels really didn't eat by Avraham Avinu, he didn't send him. How can angels eat? Angels don't need to eat. What's going on here? What did Avraham Avinu do to these angels? How did he make angels eat? You understand? How did Avraham Avinu make angels eat? Because the Kadosh Baruch Hu says to the angels, you should be embarrassed from this man. He fed you at his house. And now he's coming to your house and you want to hurt him? What kind of a karat tov is that? Somebody fed you yesterday. He comes to your home now. You start hitting him with a stick? That's what the angels did. So we see from here, what is chesed? What's chesed? Kindness. What does it mean? When we break down that word of kindness, what does it mean when somebody is in need and I help him? You know what I'm doing when somebody is in need and I'm helping him? I'm nullifying myself at that moment for that individual. I'm giving of myself at that moment. Really at that moment, there is no me. Because my whole focus is on that person. You know, one of the ways that they tell people that they should get out of depression, because depression is what? You've fallen totally into yourself. You're constantly into yourself. Tell them, go get busy with other people. Because when you're busy with other people, you don't have time to think about yourself. You see that? That's the idea. What does it mean to think about? At the moment that I'm helping somebody else, I've nullified myself. I'm constantly now to this person. Therefore, Avraham Avinu was really a person to all people. Nasich Elokim ata betochenu. You're a prince of God amongst us. What is a Kadosh Baruch Hu? A Kadosh Baruch Hu is a total giver. If I want to be like my Creator, if I really want to become one with my Creator, one with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, I have to emulate Him. How do I emulate Him? And that's what we learned last week. We learned that when the angel said to Kadosh Baruch Hu, why are you creating man? Hashem says to them, V'ad zikna. And when I become elderly, what does it mean you become elderly? We said that elderly was a reference to Avram Avinu. Because the whole purpose of HaKadosh Baruch Hu creating the world was to give. Because since Hashem is good, He wanted to bestow good upon us. Avram Avinu was a total revelation of that goodness. He was constantly running after people to do good. Lot. goes against him. He leaves him for a land. He hears that Lot's in trouble in Sdom. He risks his own life to go save Lot. Lot gets captured. Lot gets captured by the four kings. He goes and saves them. A person that's constantly giving of himself for others. That's Avram Avinu. Now, what's this power of Chesed? From this power of Chesed that Avram Avinu, he created, listen to this chidush. The reason that the angels were able to eat by Avram Avinu, something that's not possible. An angel can't eat. An angel doesn't need to eat. How did Avram Avinu give them that ability? Avraham Avinu created the kelim in the angels to eat. He gave them vessels to eat. What does that mean? From this power of Chesed, Avraham Avinu recreated something. He gave them a new reality. Really, in the angelic terms, you don't need to eat. Avraham Avinu recreated them. He gave them a new reality where they do need to eat. What's the power of Chesed? That I nullify myself so much that I become a creator. Avraham, that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to them. You're saying, don't give the Torah to mankind because the Torah is something spiritual and mankind is something physical, and it's a contradiction in terms because physical and spiritual can't go together. But I'll show you a man. Who? Avram Avinu. What did Avram Avinu do? He elevated, he made his material spiritual. That's why we see by the Akedah, when Avram Avinu goes and he wants to slaughter Yitzchak, it says, Vayishlach et yado. He has to send out his arm. So the commentators ask, what does it mean? Why is the Torah specifying the fact that Avram Avinu put his arm out? Because Avram Avinu transformed himself to such a spiritual being where his whole body was constantly in sync with the will of Hashem. And at the moment that he was about to slaughter Yitzchak, really it was only a test. Hashem never wanted him to slaughter Yitzchak, so therefore his body was negating the slaughter. So Avram Avinu had to force his body to do it because that's what he thought was the will of Hashem at that moment. And that's what the angels, and that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why was he showing them Avraham Avinu? Because he goes, look, he turned you from spiritual to physical. He turned himself from physical to spiritual. Now you can no longer say anything. Because even though the Torah is spiritual, the reason man gets the Torah is because man has the ability to transform material into spiritual. And what's the power in doing that? Chesed. Why? Because Chesed negates your need for the need of somebody else. And when you negate yourself for the better good, for the need of somebody else, you've transformed yourself. You become godly. That's the power of Chesed. You're able to create, you're able to make an angel a man. And you're able to make a man an angel. And that's what it says. Avraham Avinu, from his power of going to extreme Chesed, was nidbak b'drachav. He clinged on to the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a Baal Chesed. Hashem kel rachum v'chanun, erech hapayim. Hashem is a Baal Chesed. Noseh Chesed la'alafim. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is constantly doing with us all day long. He's giving us Chesed. He's giving us Chesed. He's giving us Chesed.
What did Avram Avinu feed the angels?
Food.
What kind of food exactly?
Real food.
I know, but
Bakar. He gave him good stuff. He gave him meat. Bakar, sheep, my friend, sheep.
So,
It says.
He gave them meat and milk.
Well, no, it said he first gave him chema, then he gave him varatzela bakar, then he gave him the thing. But you see that Avram Avinu, look at the thing. It says by Avram Avinu that he was so sick. Look at the power of Chesed. He was so sick. The Midrash says. Avram Avinu, it was the third day of his Brit Milah. He was so, even though the angels came and told him that next year you'll have a son, he was so sick he didn't even tell Sarah. He was so weak. He was weak to give his wife such a thing that he was waiting for his whole life. His whole life he was waiting to hear you're going to have a son. But when it came time to do chesed, when it came time to run and bring the food for the guests, Avraham Avinu was like he was a healthy guy. To give his wife news about himself, he didn't. We're going to have a kid. You heard you're going to have a kid after 100 years. Wouldn't you run to your wife right away? All those years you've been praying, all those things. All of a sudden he's too weak. I'll tell Sarah later. But the aim though, the guests need to eat. He ran himself. It says, the Maharal brings down that we have an idea of three people. It says, Chazal say, Shlosha rochvim al chamor. We have three ideas of people riding on a donkey. Avraham, Moshe, and Mashiach. What is a donkey in Hebrew? Chamor. Chamor means chomriut. Chomriut means material. We have three people that are able to ride a donkey. What does that mean in other words? You have three people that are in control of the material. That they ride on the donkey. Not that the material controls them, but they control the material. And if you look at these three people, Avraham, Moshe, and Mashiach, what are those three people really? Avraham, we know, it's simple. Avraham was chesed, his whole life was chesed. He was constantly running to doing chesed for people. Moshe Rabbeinu, a person that gave his whole life to who? To Klal Yisrael. He nullified himself totally for the greater good. He was able to give up, and Hashem says, Aref memeni vashmidem. Leave me and I'll destroy them. Says Moshe Rabbeinu, Mecheni nami sifrecha. Erase me from your books. That's not chesed. He was willing to give up his whole being, his whole reality, his whole connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the greater good of Am Yisrael. That's the biggest chesed. Mashiach, what's Mashiach going to come? He's going to come and help everybody connect to Hashem. Chesed. Because when you give somebody else, you're not involved with yourself. The power of making an angel a man, and the power of making a man an angel. That's chesed. You want to become an angel? Run after people to help them. Now, after all this, we know that when there was the Gemara relates an incident where a non-Jew came and he wanted to convert, and he comes to Hillel HaZaken, and Hillel HaZaken tells him, "Madesani alayich al ta'aseh lechaverchayich." What's hated upon you, don't do to your friend. And the rest is details. Again, relating the idea of chesed. What you hate, don't do to your friend. What makes you upset, make sure he's not in that situation. Now, thinking about all this, we understand. We had a question in the Midrash. Moshe Rabbeinu goes up to Shemayim, the angels want to hurt him. Hashem shows him Avraham Avinu. But then I was thinking, we know that when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Shemayim, he saw somebody else. And when he saw that person, he said, Hashem, if you have such a person, why are you giving Torah to me? The Torah should be given through him. Who is that person?
Rabbi Akiva.
And what's Rabbi Akiva's whole motto in life? Ze klal gadol b'Torah, ve'ahavta l'ra'acha kamocha. Comes Moshe Rabbeinu and says, oh, here goes the light bulb. You turned my face to Avraham Avinu? Meaning that and because of Avraham Avinu, I merit to bring down the Torah to the world? Hold on a second, don't give the Torah with me. You have a Rabbi Akiva that says, Ze klal gadol b'Torah, this is the biggest thing in Torah. What? Ve'ahavta l'ra'acha kamocha. The biggest idea of Torah is what? Chesed. Here, he got it. He got the idea. Let's help each other. He got the idea. Let me help a Jew. Run after a Jew to help him. I want to have a son like the Baal Shem Tov. Help a Jew. I want to have a Ben Ish Chai. Help a Jew. Nullify yourself. Says Moshe Rabbeinu, me? Don't give it to me. Rabbi Akiva. V'after lecha kamocha. The power of Chesed. Making a man an angel, and making an angel a man. Making an angel a man, and making a man an angel. That's Avraham Avinu. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned the face of Moshe Rabbeinu to Avram, and that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Moshe, this is the merit that you get. You know why you're bringing the Torah to this world? Because Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Because when you understand that the whole purpose of Torah is to bring you about to do Chesed with others, which means you're nullifying the material, When you nullify the material, it means that you're thinking about another person. It means that I'm no longer, when Moshe Rabbeinu says, Anochi ha'omed hayom lifnechem v'lifnei Hashem Elokechem, Moshe Rabbeinu says, I stand between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, what stands between you and Hashem? Our selfishness. When you're into yourself, you can't be into Hashem. When you're into helping other people, you become like Hashem. Chesed, you can make an angel a man, and you can make a man an angel.
What type of form did the angels come into the tent in? Form of man, no?
I give him the son.
Come here. Did they come in form of man?
Yeah. That doesn't mean they had the vessels.